Okay, this is Denver, this is Macy, this is Taylor, and this is Trevor. And this is my narrative speech. In June of 2016, I went on the best trip of my entire life. For a year, I was anticipating this trip. Walleye fishing in Sioux Lookout, Ontario. I was 16 at the time, and this was the most excited I've ever been for anything. On June 6th, a few friends, my dad, and I left for Canada. We left on a cold, dewy night from our house. The long 14-hour drive ahead of us seemed impossible and never-ending. We drove throughout the night. On the way, we were listening to stories from my dad about how beautiful the scenery was and how the fishing was just absolutely amazing. After crossing the border, I started seeing trees that I had never seen before. They looked like pine trees, but they're extremely fluffy, tall. I also started noticing massive boulders the size of buses right next to the road. The boulders looked like they could fall and break away at any second. Eventually, we arrived at the closest boat dock to the point of the lake where we were going. The company who ran the boat dock had already sent out a houseboat for us to sleep and eat on. We loaded up our personal boat and finally took off into the breathtaking scenery. The ride to the houseboat was about an hour and a half, even after all the driving we had done. I didn't mind it one bit though. After we got further and further away from human contact, the wilderness grew more abstract and colorful. Also, the wildlife was incredible. Bald eagles were flying everywhere, a few red foxes were running around, and a massive black bear was staring us down as we passed. Our group finally arrived on the spot. We all just sat there 90 miles away from any other human in the perfect quiet. The sun was blazing down on us and the sky was baby blue. The lake was calm and still, and the evergreen trees and flowers were vibrant with color. I touched the glass like water to see if it was real, and of course it was. We settled into the houseboat and got ready to go fishing. It was this moment we had all been waiting for. We traveled about 10 minutes to the spot. I grabbed my pole, threw in a live minnow on a jig, and casted. After a few casts, I got a bite. I reeled in the fish, and it was a 27-inch walleye. For the next week, the fishing kept up. With just about every cast, we had caught a fish. In conclusion, this was by far the most beautiful, breathtaking, calming place I had ever been to, and that is the lesson I learned. When you go to a place like this, you really stop and think for a minute. It brings you to peace looking around at the land where no one else has ever been before. In fact, I can now look at life and realize how awesome it really is. I hope to make many trips back to Canada in my lifetime and experience this again.